Alright, so welcome back to the 3 Years to Go Pro vlog. Where I last left off, I was getting ready to do the 10K in Suriname. So just get into that, and then from there I'll continue on to what's been going on in the summer and what's going to happen for next year. So for the 10K, as you could have expected from what I was hearing, the logistics weren't all that great. So when we got to the place, they didn't have any seats, any toilets, any tent for the athletes, and we got there like 2 hours before. So we were just standing in the sun. There wasn't any water stands either, so a few of us carried water, just warmed up with that, tried to stay as cool as possible in whatever shade we could find. And then the race started, say, 2 hours later. While I was there, of course, it's a intergovernmental thing in the Caribbean, so you had different ministers and representatives from Jamaica, which is where I got most of the pictures from. So that was pretty interesting to see them there. So now for the race itself. So like I said, I wasn't all too confident in it, but I thought I could do fairly decent if the pace wasn't all that bad. Starting out, it went around to the front actually, but thankfully nobody blasted out at an unsustainable pace. It was fairly decent overall, so I could keep up sort of with the top group. The top group mainly had teams from Guyana, one person from Suriname, and one person from St. Lucia behind. Yeah, so for that first 4 kilometers, that pack of around 7 or 8 people was at the front. Pace wasn't terrible, so that first 5K was in 17.5 minutes, so a little bit faster than I had hoped, but it's not too bad overall. And around the 4K point, I had to get some preparation from myself. Some people dropped back as well though, so there was around 5 or 6 in front of me, and when it got to the turning point, I had water stops every 2.5 kilometers actually, so yeah, I was feeling fairly okay with the first 5K. Coming back, it was a mainly flat course, so all the description isn't too terrible, but started feeling it a lot more, and the humidity was getting to me since it was in the late afternoon, while I would have practiced for morning runs, so I was starting to feel that a bit more with the cramps in my abs. But overall, I'm fairly happy with what happened in the race. It wasn't all that bad. Yeah, so coming back, I think that was around a 90-minute or so final 5K. So it's not too bad. I was still moving decently. I was actually able to pass 2 people who dropped back on the way back. I was passed by one person from St. Lucia. So wasn't all that bad. I think if I were to redo it, I would just try to run a bit more on the first, and then so around the 18, and then come back around 18:30 or so. But I can't complain. I think the race overall was pretty decent for me. Yeah, and what I recognize as well is that on the way back, if I would try to speed up or change the pace, I start feeling nauseous. So I think that's pretty much the limit of where my training had took me in terms of the 10K, because feeling nauseous generally means that you're about to stop here at the limit. So I think I did fairly well with the training I had, and where I was running pretty much near to my max that I could handle at the time. So closing time overall was 36:40, so that was good enough for 6th overall, and I was the 4th country to finish. So you had persons from Ghana, one person from Suriname, one from St. Lucia, and then myself. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. Not amazing in terms of seeing 10K as possibly something I'd be especially good at, but it's overall happy with the end of the season and being able to do that. But actually the person that came, which was Anne Harris, she actually won the women's event, so you had to take the pictures, get a trophy, and got a prize, cash prize as well. So I was pretty excited for her to see her coming in first for the women. So overall I was pretty happy with the experience. Yeah, so from there the trip back was mostly eventless. They took us to a few places, to another festival that was taking place, as well as different shops around the place. So coming back, getting congratulated to Jazan whenever they saw the trophy and Jamaica this, but it was really uneventful. Flights were all on time and all of that, so it was decent coming back. Yeah, so since I've been back, just been resting, doing some online courses in ArcGIS for my like ecology and zoology type career. I think that'll be important, so I tried to do some courses online and just resting. I did a little bit of training to get into, but it's not too good overall. I haven't been consistent with it in the summer for a few reasons. So just looking back at the season, I'm decently okay with how it all went. Start of it wasn't all that great, and there's several points where I didn't think I was doing the right type of training to succeed. But given what I was offered to me and what's able to accomplish, I can't be too hard on myself. So just change the can next year and move forward. So one of the big changes that we're looking into next year is actually training with a triathlon team as a sort of background work for my training. So I was able to contact the triathlon person, Mr. Dane Wright. They train with several younger people who are training for CARICOM in Port Royal. So I was able to join them for a few Sundays before I record this video. Firstly, he's having some issues with being the mountain bike instead of a road bike. He says it's significantly slower when it gets into like times and such. But for the moment, since I'm not quite sure how often I'll be able to do triathlon training, at least for now, which I'll explain later. I'm not sure I would go and get a whole new bike. However, the good news is that it seems possible to change the wheels to thinner road wheels instead of the thick mountain biking wheels. So that's also an option that's less expensive if it comes to that. Yeah, but for the training itself, so of course, obviously, the worst part of it would be the swimming, which I haven't done at all for a long time. I'm also not built for it with my arms as well. So I've been the most difficult parts when I was able to do it. And then, of course, mountain biking below and then running below, which I am fairly good at from what I've seen. So the main limiting factor right now, however, is that I have a shoulder injury. So it's actually been ongoing for 2 years at this point. I would have felt it when I was doing some training at Campion, and I felt a sort of jolt in my shoulder. I didn't think much of it. I didn't feel it for several months, and then every now and then, like every 2 or 3 weeks, I would move my shoulder a certain way, and then I'd feel a jolt, but I wouldn't be able to recreate it, and it was minor overall, so didn't think too much of it. And a few months ago, it got slightly worse, so I started icing it. However, it's the same issue, is that it's not really consistent pain, so wasn't really feeling it or seeing any progress. So I just mainly lived with it jolts being occasional there. So like every week I would feel a slight jolt. However, in the weeks before climbing, and I started to feel it more consistently. And then the first week I went to the Port Royal to do swimming, I felt a sharp pain actually, so I stopped swimming at that point, cut it short, and then we just went on the road with the mountain bike and the running instead. I was able to talk to an orthopedic in the family. It's a bit difficult to coordinate because I'm not going to him as a doctor, so whenever he's writing up things or all of that, he's kind of on his time, so I have to be constantly reminding him, but thankfully that I don't have to pay at least to hear that advice. So from what he's saying, it sounds like it feels like tendonitis, specifically infraspinal tendonitis, which runs from back of your shoulder up to it, and then that can start affecting lifting your arms. So I'm feeling consistent pain when I have my arm bent, try to lift it up, I can start feeling consistently there, I can recreate that. So that's the main sign of what it is, and other symptoms fit with it online, being several years before and being minor before getting worse over time. So what you're looking for now is to do ultrasound, just confirm there's no major tears or anything like that, or any swelling that's outside the norm. But that's getting more difficult to do because places are closing down, and all sorts of different appointments having to deal with him as well. So that's something looking forward to, at least getting that resolved. I think it's going to be a lot of physiotherapy, however, so that's going to take some time, and that's going to take a lot of time away from swimming as well, which is why I'm not sure overall how long I'll be able to continue the triathlon training if I'm not going to be doing the main part of improvement, which is swimming, for several weeks. I guess when I get to the physiotherapist, I can start the pain and make a more informed decision from that point. Yeah, another point against triathlon training is that the pool at UE is currently empty and dry, so can't use it there, and also no swim coach for me to go to. So if I were to, I'd probably have to start paying money, and I actually want to pay money to be training as background training, you know? So once I get more confirmation from a physiotherapist, and then hopefully you feel like I can get back into it. If not, then I'll just treat the triathlon more as a just addition in the early season. I'll continue doing track training for this year. But that's all to come in the future, just depending on several different factors that are still to come. So looking forward to that. Yes, and now the final updates is that I currently have COVID-19 apparently. I'm not feeling many symptoms at the point, as sneezing earlier, but not any other classic symptoms of fever or coughing. But since I have it, I can't really move around the place, so that's putting a damper on a lot of plans for training with triathlon, or getting the shoulder checked out, or even doing any other appointments I would have had before. So until that's cleared out, won't be moving around much. For this vlog specifically, I don't think I'll be coming back until probably late September or October, just with confirmation of what my plan is for year 2. How that will change in terms of depends on the pool, the triathlon training. When I get in contact with Coach Pullman again, since he's of course a hurdles trainer and he has Diamond League meetings to go focus on. So all that's looking forward to the future. So this is the end of the first year of the 2 Years to Go Pro vlog. As I said, I'm decently fine with what I was able to do in the first year, doing what I had available to me. Hopefully next year I'll be able to see some major improvements. If not, then I'll start training on my own, as I said. So end it here, and when I next see you, have some clarity of what's going on in the next year.